Number 2. If a figure is a square, that's going to be our P, then it is a rectangle. That would be Q. If a figure is a rectangle, well, being a rectangle refers to Q. Then it has 4 sides. Well, we haven't referred to having 4 sides before. So we're going to identify having 4 sides as a new letter, which is R. Well, already we're asked to make a valid conclusion from the given statements. So as long as it follows either the law of syllogism or detachment, we can make a conclusion. Well, if you notice, we have P then Q, in the next sentence Q then R, so we're already following the law of syllogism. The next step in law of syllogism is that the Q's are eliminated and we're left with P then R. So our conclusion would be P, if a figure is a square, then R. It has 4 sides. And the logic law that we followed is the law of syllogism. Okay, number 4, we start by identifying our P's, Q's, and R's, if there are any. A figure is a 3-sided polygon, that's going to be P. Then it is a triangle, that's going to be Q. In the next sentence, we're told that figure ABC is a 3-sided polygon. So all we've done is identified a figure that is a 3-sided polygon. Naming it ABC doesn't give it a new letter. It's just identifying a figure that is a 3-sided polygon. So that's still referring to P. So if you can see, we have P then Q, given P. We're following the law of detachment, where our next letter is to conclude that Q is true. And now that we know that Q is our conclusion, we have to make it pertain to figure ABC. So we conclude that figure ABC is a triangle. Number 6. If a rectangle has side lengths of 3 centimeters and 4 centimeters, that's P, then it has an area of 12 centimeters squared. That's Q. Rectangle ABCD has an area of 12 centimeters squared. So it, being the rectangle, having an area of 12 centimeters squared refers to Q. Well, we have the pattern here of PQQ, and this does not fit the pattern of one of our logic laws. So our conclusion would be no valid conclusion. And your law would be none, because it doesn't follow a logic law. Remember, you only have 2 logic laws. You have P then Q, given P, conclude Q, that's detachment. And you have P then Q, Q then R, P then R, that's syllogism. If it doesn't follow one of these orders exactly, it's not valid. Okay, number 8. They don't give you a conditional statement, meaning an if-then statement. So when you are looking at this, you have to think of it as an if-then statement. So you don't have to write it, but you have to identify your hypothesis and your conclusion. So if there is a national park, then it is interesting. So referring to national parks would be your P, your hypothesis. And those national parks being interesting would be your Q. Mammoth Cave is a national park. So what we've done is we've identified a national park, Mammoth Cave. We've just identified our hypothesis, a national park. So because we have P then Q, we're given P, our conclusion is that Q is true. You just have to make Q refer to Mammoth Cave now, because we've identified a national park. So our conclusion is that Mammoth Cave is interesting. And then that takes care of our Q. So we have P then Q, P, conclude Q. The logic law that we followed is the law of detachment. Okay, number 10, this is just review to prepare you for your quiz. What is the converse of the statement in the box? Remember, converse, you take your conditional, that's P then Q, The converse is to flip it. Remember, you can do a back flip in your converse shoes. So we're going to take our conditional and we're going to flip our hypothesis and conclusion. So if today is Saturday, that's P. There is no school today. That's Q. So we're going to flip that. If there is no school today, then it is Saturday. And that is letter A. So now we have Q, then P. Okay, number 12. We have if an animal is an ape, P, then it is a primate, Q. If an animal is a primate, that's Q. It has hair. Well, we've not talked about having hair before. We've only talked about being an ape and being a primate. So we identify having hair as a new letter, R. So if Bongo is an ape, what is the correct conclusion? Well, that's PQQR. Bongo is an ape. That's P. Then Bongo has hair. That's R. So our conclusion is that Bongo has hair. And this follows the law of syllogism.